Joan, what are you doing right now in the goal setting process?
I am looking through the rubrics, reading what the different categories are to figure out what I feel my strengths are.
Joan, could you tell us how you actually formulated some of your goals?
After looking at the rubrics, I realized that one of the things I really want to work on this year is to use some testing or assessments to truly individualize the work that the children are doing. I felt I was pretty good at using that information to work with an entire class, but I don't feel I was really using it to differentiate with different students on their individual weaknesses. So I took this goal setting tool and I read over the language it had, and the first thing that it asks for is to find an action verb, that what you're actually going to do. And I realized that what I want to do is to examine the children's responses on their ELA state tests to figure out what their weaknesses are. And this year I'm mostly focusing on writing. So I'm going to look at the short answer and the long answer portion of the ELA instead of the multiple choice part. So I'm going to look at an item analysis of those pieces. And once I had all this ideas in place of what I wanted to do, then looking at the language, the goal actually fell in place rather easily.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey Joan, how are you today?
I am just peachy.
Good. You're all set for this goal setting meeting? All right. So Joan, I know that you brought with you your rough draft of your goals.
I did.
So let's take a look at a couple of the goals that you have. When you were going through the goal setting, I noticed that on your rough draft you have some information by the planning and the prep and all the various domains. Why don't we start by you telling me a little bit about where you see yourself as far as your strengths. So Joan, what are some of your strengths in the planning and preparation domain?
Well, I think that one of my strengths is where it says that you demonstrate the knowledge of the variety of strategies and align them with the standards.
Okay, so what might be some evidence that, or examples of how you do that?
Well, I take the information that I got when we were involved in the Reading First grant, and I use the different the techniques that I learned from that research and when I'm teaching my small reading groups.
So the research that you have been conducting over the last few years has been pretty much on the information from Reading First.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
Now you're teaching writing this year. Given all this research that you have done over the past few years with Reading First, how might you connect that to the writing program that you're teaching this year?
I'm not really sure how it connects.
Okay. So is it possible that you might consider a goal that deals with learning some more information about writing strategies that would help?
Since that's what I'm doing this year, that might be a really good idea.
Okay. So
do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I do have the Writing Traits series. I have it in my office, if you would like me to give you that as a starting point. Okay. And then I'm thinking that you and I should both, I'll Google some information, perhaps you can do the same,
Sure.
And then the next time we talk, we can have a chat about where you think you want to go with your research in order to help you.
Yeah, especially with the standards, the Common Core standards, because now the information that we're going to need to use is some of the old stuff might be
That's
outdated.
true. That's a good point. So perhaps that might be one of your goals this year. Did you have that as a goal?
I didn't.
Okay.
But I actually could use another.
Okay, so consider that. Consider that again, since this year you are teaching writing.
Look at me! I thought I was really strong there.
No, you are. That's okay. You were very strong with that last year. but I think this year because of the writing.
I never even realized how that would
Okay,
change.
all right.
So, yeah, thank you.
So let's move on to another one of your goals. Sure.
What I want to do is I'd like to examine some of the short and long responses that the children gave on the New York State ELA in order to individualize their student instruction in writing.
Okay.
As opposed to in reading.
It's a good idea.
So that I can target their weaknesses.
Okay.
And really get down to the nitty-gritty of what part of that test is making them fall apart.
Okay, so...
And I'm sorry, and I'd also like to, and I'm going to use the Data.m4v program that the Rochester has all the information up for the students, and I really need to have that in place by the end of November. Otherwise, it's not going to do me much good on planning instruction for the rest of the year.
That's a good point. So you're actually going to use the diagnostic testing as a way to determine how to plan individual instruction.
Correct.
Excellent. And what are some reasons that you think this goal is important?
What I need to do with the class is pretty much a given based on the Rochester curriculum that we have in place. I know where the writing pieces need to lead, and I know how I need to scaffold the individual lessons to get there, but there's going to be some items that the children should have gotten by now that they don't have. So if I can target those individually.
So you're moving towards individualizing the instruction. So when you compare this year to last with how you used the testing, what's different?
I always kind of did something like this. I did an item analysis, but I generally used it to plan my whole class instruction as opposed to plan small group or even AIS instruction. Okay, so this year the big push for you is individualizing instruction based on the diagnostic testing. Nice. All right, I think that's a very effective goal. How might you attain this goal? But what do I actually need to do? Yes. Well, I'm going to need to set up some paperwork. Okay. And I already have lists of all the students in my classes, and I've already written down their actual scores on the test, their numbers. But now what I need to do is go back into the test itself and figure out where it was that. That's a good idea. What are some resources that I might be able to provide to you in order to accomplish this goal? Like everything else, it's all about time. Time. I think. Would it help you if perhaps I was able to provide a sub for you so that you would have time to work on examining the data and formulating your individual plans? Or if that doesn't work, perhaps I could set you up with the data coach so that maybe she could pull some of the data? She probably has some time to actually pull that information, and then we could look at it together. Good. That might be helpful. All right, so you let me know when you would like this to happen, and I'll certainly help you out with that. Well, what might be some evidence that you'll be gathering during the year so that when we meet again at the end of the year to talk about your progress on the goal, what might be some evidence that you can show me that will show the progress that you've made on this goal? I don't suppose we can wait until next year's scores come out. Well, I mean, although those will help. Sure. But along the way, well, as I do the individual small group or individual lessons with the children, I can save some of the work that they did. Okay. Or maybe pick a couple kids that I really want to focus on. And that would be good. Watch their growth. Do a case study. Yeah. Okay, that sounds like a very good plan. I'm going to write that down. Well, thank you so much. It sounds like you're off to a great start, and if you have any questions along the way, feel free. Oh, thank you, I will. Okay.